Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Not Content Podcast. This time we are doing a YouTube exclusive. Please like and subscribe. Click the bell icon for notifications. For the podcast version, again, leave a review on Apple or Spotify to get those algorithms going. My name is Jerome Cuson, joined by Brian. And Brian, this week on YouTube, we are going to be discussing Rare Exports, a movie that is somewhat timely because it is done by the same director, Jalmari Helander. He recently directed Sisu 2. Of course, he also directed Sisu 1. That is a movie. Those two movies have a lot in common because we have the same actor. The actor who played Sisu is also in this movie. And Brian, if you can believe it, the father and son that are in this movie, they are real life father and son. Can you believe it?
Wow. Okay, did not know that. And listen,
Yeah,
I
I'm
know I
dropping knowledge on you. I was saving that.
well, the thing is like I didn't time this. With our timing, it's just I picked this movie months ago, not even realizing there was a Sisu 2 coming out, not even
Correct.
realizing it was the same director, the same actor. It was just like I just heard of this movie being like quote a killer
I
Santa type
also
movie, which is actually not
I
true.
have to point out that Jalmari Herlander is Jorma Tamlia Jorma Tamala. They are brothers-in-law, so it is a family affair.
A
Very
family
much.
affair. And are they all still in like Sisu 2 together? Or is it just that one actor?
He is the the way I understand it is he is the only one that is the son is not a huge part of either of the
Okay,
Sisus.
because it seemed like this son was on his way to like, I don't know, having a career because he was really good in this. So gotta give credit for
He
the
was
kid's
really good in
performance.
this. Like that's the thing. It's like I don't have a problem with having your kids in the movie if they're good. Like I that's why I don't have an issue with like Margaret Qualley because I mean all due respect to Andy McDowell, I think Margaret Qualley is a much better actor. But like I don't have an issue when they're good. It's when they're bad that's when the problem. When you get Sofia Coppola in The Godfather Part 3, like that's when it becomes a problem.
She's not even a kid then, but yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean though? And
I
like
get
I
you. I
respect
get
her
you.
as a
I
director.
get you.
So
Yeah. But for this movie, I just thought it was a Killer Santa movie, and it's not necessarily
it is
that. It's
not
it
a
was.
Killer Santa movie.
I think one person was murdered on camera, but it's to be assumed that there was more people killed off camera at the dig site or something.
The
But
impression
other
that
than
I get
that,
is that this is a movie that did not have a budget and they could not show grisly murder. Because when
but it's
we know
implied.
that this director can show grisly murder when he wants to, because he did it in Sisu 1 and Sisu 2, he does not do it in this movie. This movie almost has this movie is very much like The Thing to me, right? Like that's the vibe you were getting.
It's
Like
like a
this movie,
thing, the thing mixed with like fairy tale in terms of like twists and turns and not showing and it's just telling, right? In
it's
terms of
very
that.
dark, it's very dank, and I think that's part of the flaw of it too. Like I admire this movie more than I liked it, if that makes sense.
That's true. And I admire the tropes that they went against. Like we'll get because I feel like the whole third
Absolutely,
act
yes,
was like anti-trope, anti-trope, anti-trope,
right.
like everything about that. But you got to build up to that, and it's basically what there's a dig site. They're trying to find quote unquote Krampus, which I thought was not even in this movie, but he's in this movie. We'll get to that. And they're looking for him, and they want to get him out. And then all this shit happens with the dig site, and it affects this local community. And they're ready for deer season. And unfortunately, the kids cut a hole in the cage to go spy on the dig site. They come
Yeah.
back, they leave the hole, and I guess we assume it's wolves that attack the deer, but we find out it's actually not killer Santas, but elves, quote unquote, which are old men who happen to look like Santa. And I guess they needed a feed for energy because it's the season.
I cannot tell you the payoff to the elf thing, where in the end they become Santas. I mean, I cackled with laughter at that.
There is some deep
That is some
metaphorical shit
great,
there. We'll get to that
great
because I feel
cartoon.
like that was like some weird commentary on slavery, right? And like the history of slavery and the idea of exporting a live body, right? I don't know. But we'll get to that. So once they get past this whole idea that maybe there's something going on in the DEG site, and they go up to this area where it's guarded by the government or whatever government, They break the lock because they're pissed off that all their deer are killed, and they're like blaming the government or something. And they go in and they find the old man, right? Or no, they find something and then they come back, and then it's like it turns out they make a trap, and this old guy's there, and they discover that this old guy is not necessarily just a regular old guy. That they think he's Santa, but he's not Santa, and we find out that Santa's been this kind of like trope instead of like, they're elves basically. They're the elves and they're naked and it's disturbing and they're like dirty and it's like they steal shit. It's like, why are they stealing heaters? Why are they like kidnapping all the kids? And they're just trying to like, oh, and they find out that they're working for Krampus. So there you go. And Krampus is still in the ice. So what they do is they're trying to melt them, obviously, with all the heaters and stuff. And I guess the kids are there to be feeding when he wakes up. That's the impression based on the drawings that the kid finds. So,
that is certainly a possibility. Yes.
Yeah. So I guess the trope is that if this was a Marvel movie or a comic book movie, Krampus would come out of the ice and that'd be your third act villain, fucking like Doomsday, right? Like that's what you're expecting. But they're like, no, fuck that. If he's trapped in the ice, let's just blow his ass up. And so they do that. And you can and what they do is they suddenly have an explosion. And then you can kind of hear the internal explosion when the dynamite hits Krampus. And you hear this I don't know, like echo of a grunt or something. But clearly that motherfucker's dead. And so what they do is like, oh, he's dead now. In the end of the movie, like they turn all the elves into Santa Claus people during training for a whole year. Good. And put them in boxes and ship them off to different malls across the globe.
I mean,
what kind of weird ending? You know what I mean? Like,
I thought the ending was one of the best parts. I really this fits in with so many of movies like this. I really appreciated that. I really appreciated the humor in that ending.
Yeah, it's so weird, and it's so I don't know. It's hard to describe because it's very much like a commentary on slavery, obviously, but it's also a commentary on that elves are slaves and that we are a culture that makes it appropriate for a culture to have Santa and his slaves, but not actual. You know what I'm saying? It's so social commentary right going there. And then not only that, it just seems like with the stamp, I don't know. I was thinking this feels like a very IKEA kind of thing. Maybe I don't know. But even though that's Sweden. And this is what I think Finland,
yes.
which totally different, but still, it just felt because when you see that stamp, it feels like that's an IKEA kind of stamp when you get a piece of furniture from IKEA, that kind of vibe. And I don't know if that was intentional culturally wise, but it definitely has that feel to it. So this ending is so weird, and it's almost as if what if we killed Thanos before the end of Infinity War? What would we do, right? And that's kind of what happens because they just killed Krampus nothing. But they did take its time. They had to put God knows, I don't know, 100 pieces of dynamite in the ice to do it, the block of ice, and they blow his ass up. But then they're stuck with all these old dudes just roaming around. And the whole time, the kid obviously knows what's going on. Of course, the parents are not listening.
Because nothing is original anymore. This director, Mr. Hollander, he is going to be directing the John Rambo prequel, and I cannot help but think that this is a terrible idea.
I don't know, man, because
I think the idea of the movie is a terrible idea. This is a director who I think this movie, it's not perfect. It's not my favorite movie of all time, but I really admire the ingenuity and I admire the originality of it. And Sisu and Sisu 2 are both movies that I really like. Very efficient storytelling, obviously very violent, but I just appreciate them for what they are. And this just feels okay, this is another director who's just going to get slotted into a franchise. And it sucks, man. This is a guy who I really like his work, and I want to see him do more of this, do more finished movies that have $5 million, $10 million budgets, and not get relegated to a John Rambo prequel. We don't need to see John Rambo fight in the Vietnam War. We just don't.
Well, my impression is we're going to see him get tortured in the Vietnam War because that's, he was tortured, right? That's why he's so fucked up.
We don't need that, man.
I know we don't need that, but that's the story I think we're getting. So if that is to be the case, you never know. You never know. But I can easily see him do the Rambo prequel, and I don't know. I hope it's not a John Woo situation, But I think this guy's really talented in terms of like directing and setting up pacing
I think he is
and
too. I
setting up
think
expectations and turning them
yes.
against them. And I've even seen
And he's
Sisu 1
also
and
good
2.
at making movies that are not 2 hours. Like he makes 80,
Right.
90 minute
This is
movies.
hour and 25 minutes, folks. Hour and 25 minutes doesn't waste any
And
time.
look, I don't believe that every movie has to be 90 minutes or an hour and 25 minutes, but I appreciate those directors who are willing to do things like this because it feels like a lot of directors are going the opposite way and making movies that are 2.5 hours. And I really appreciate the efficiency of this storytelling.
I can see why Roger Ebert gave this 3.5 out of 4. On his dying days or his dying years. I
Yeah,
can
this is
see, like, for that time,
definitely
probably
written
in
in the last years of
2010, it
life.
felt different. Like, it probably felt different in 2010 than when we're seeing it now. But I'm probably gonna watch Sisu like soon after this because it's on Tubi as well, and I watched this on Tubi. But the one of the things I gotta complain about is like I think Tubi's quality I think is a DVD, and it doesn't feel like they've
It's
updated their
not, yeah,
stream.
Tubi is very mixed bag sometimes.
Yeah,
I
so I
think
was just
I
disappointed.
appreciate the fact that Tubi exists, but the quality of all the
There
movies
needs to be
shown.
like a quality upgrade on a lot of the films. Like we've
Oh
talked about
yeah,
that with
big
Jackie
time.
Chan
Yes, yes, yes.
films before because of their Cantonese transfers or whatever. But this definitely felt like they just uploaded the DVD and it was like from like 10 years ago.
Yes,
But because there is a Blu-ray, so I'm sure they've upgraded some of the picture quality of this movie, but it just felt
yes.
like too grainy at times. But other than that, that's not a shot at the movie. That's just more of the streaming issue. But
No,
it
that
and it's not
we
a
are
hard to
not.
find
We're not
movie.
talking.
It's not like an expensive movie. It's like $15 on Blu-ray
I
or something.
actually, because the quality was so bad on Tubi, I rented it on Apple for $1, and the quality was way better.
See, they
So
probably chose the HD Blu-ray version instead. So
I mean, I don't know that it was.
yeah.
I mean, it was definitely better. I don't know. I don't want to go that
And
far,
this was
but it was
20. This is a
definitely
movie
better.
from 2010. It's not like it's an old movie, folks. So
Right.
it's just one of those things. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. It's not a classic, but it has those great
I'm
moments, and I
definitely there
think it
with you.
builds up to a
It is
really,
very
really good
appropriate
third
for our
act.
theme. Like we have the movies that we think are almost like canon worthy for the Christmas. This doesn't quite make the cut, and I think this doesn't make quite the cut in a better way than A Very Merry Christmas did.
But if anything, you can watch the last, I don't know, 10 minutes on like YouTube or something to get that weird ending, and it would still like feel kind of like cool to watch.
Yes,
Because it's
yes,
so weird
absolutely,
and it's very interpretive is what it is because it has
for
nothing to
sure.
do with the entire plot that was going on before, so it was just so out of nowhere. But yeah, I appreciate that part of it. And as like this is the first time watch for both of us, so it was a good kind of like wow, like experiencing this both simultaneously and kind of texting back and forth. And just I appreciate the kid's performance. I forget his name, but even though it was a trope of him being the smartest dude in the room and no one listens to the kid, there were so many anti-tropes by the end of it that it just really was like, wow, okay, it built to a satisfying ending. So you got to give credit for that.
All right, Brian, that is it. Again, next week we will be discussing The Holdovers on the main podcast, and we will be discussing Anna and the Apocalypse as our YouTube exclusive. A very interesting movie that I'm very excited to talk to Brian on because he has never seen it, so I will be very curious. This is a pretty obscure movie at this point, so we will see what Brian thinks. So for Brian, I'm Jerome. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you again next time.